Well, the vision for starting Faithful Servants really started back when we were in medical school, when we heard a speaker at a Christian Medical Dental Society meeting who basically had left everything in his life to take care of poor people in rural Mississippi. His message was so inspiring, and basically what he told us is, as doctors, it's our job to be the hands and feet of Christ. And that dream lived with us for our entire careers. And finally, about 2008, we started seeing many patients lose their insurance and really get into trouble from a healthcare standpoint. And that was, I guess you'd call it the last straw, or the thing that really pushed us over the edge to start the clinic and to really try to provide care in a setting where it would be free for people who were uninsured, who could otherwise not afford health care.
I think when Mark and I set out after medical school and residency, that someday we'd figure out what it was that God wanted us to do that would be purely mission-oriented. And for about 15 years, we spent a lot of time in third world countries doing clinics and having a ball doing it and watching God just move mountains through that. Talked about starting a hospital in Nicaragua, and when we thought doors were opening, all of a sudden a big door slammed shut. We kind of sat back and thought, well, one day we'll understand what God really wants us to do. And one day as we walk through what's now the clinic, looking at the site, thinking, what should we think about putting in that part of the building, it just dawned on us that maybe this was the place that God wanted us to serve. It was one of those things where a door had slammed shut in Nicaragua, and it just seemed like every door that we tried to go through here in our own backyard kept opening and just kept leading us forward.
What we do is not all-encompassing by any stretch of the imagination, but I think for individuals who often feel lost and have nowhere to go for their health care, I think for that a given individual on a given situation, it's huge. We will help them get better from an illness. We'll help them get a physical done if they need a job. So I think that from a physical standpoint, we are really meeting those needs. From a spiritual standpoint, I think we're just a great example for the community. People see that this is really the church in action. This is people being the hands and feet of Christ. So I'm hopeful that that is a feeling that is really spreading in this community and beyond as we go with the mobile unit, and that spirit of giving in the name of Christ is really pervasive.
One of the more memorable things very early on in the clinic that I still remember was the lady that came in one night and basically hadn't worked for 3 years and had no insurance for 3 years, and had lost her job because she had been hurt on the job and didn't really recognize that she should have reported it. And big problem was that she was a diabetic and had been without any meds for 3 years. And so we talked about what we could do for that and how she could get care for her diabetes and get back on track. And she was just one of the most grateful people that I can tell you about in the first week. And at the end I said, hey, can I pray for you? And she said, absolutely. And so I stood there and I thought, this is an opportunity to just pray with a patient and offer up the solution to God. And as I started to pray, she grabbed my hand, and as my eyes were closed, I felt that warm hand, and I just realized that this was really gonna go, that God was gonna use this ministry to touch lives, not just physically but spiritually. And as I ended the prayer in tears, she hugged me and left. And I walked away from that night just very convinced that God's hand was in this ministry and that He was going to use it in a mighty way, and that there was probably nothing that could stop Him or the ministry from being a success.